What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Christian with Beyond Worthy, back with another video, and I am testing out a new video style, new recording style. Typically I find myself being lazy. I have camera equipment, I have audio equipment. I just often tend to kind of defer to my phone just because it's quick. It's in the palm of my hand. It's something I can access easily. But I really wanted to see if I could up the quality of these videos. Obviously trying something different. I've seen a lot of videos these days where people are recording by holding the microphone. And so, I'm going to try it out. I want to hear how it sounds. I want to see what it looks like on the big screen. But the real reason I'm here is just to kind of provide some perspective as to where I'm at, specifically with regards to my journey to try to become a beyond worthy individual, live a beyond worthy caliber life. I know that's the name of this channel. That hopefully will be the premise long term. And obviously, I would like to make videos that help inspire others to live the type of life that they wish and seek to live. But in full transparency, I have to make videos from the perspective of where I'm at right now, which is an individual who doesn't have all the answers, who hasn't figured out themselves how to live that life. And I think it's important to just be authentic and let y'all know that I'm still trying to put it together. I'm still trying to understand how do I move from where I'm at today, which I would consider myself to be somebody who's living a less than worthy life. I think that I've done a lot, but I've managed to get to a certain level that many people would consider to be success. But the more I kind of step back and examine where I'm at, I begin to understand and realize I've kind of leaned into the life that the world wanted me to have. It's not something that I would consider having been crafted based off of things that I am inspired by, things that I've taken the initiative to do on my own, things that are fulfilling necessarily. I would consider myself to be somebody who really kind of went through the motions and arrived at a destination, but not my ideal destination. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I would consider myself to have been someone who was a good student, a great student, if you will, in school. Someone who did what I needed to do by going to college, showing up every day, doing the work, getting my degree, getting out into the job market, right? Putting myself out there with my resume, portfolios, things of that nature. So I don't want to dismiss the work that was done by myself, but I do feel like a lot of the work that was done by checking off boxes that have been provided by society, boxes that basically ensure a moderate level of success if you're able to successfully complete them. And while I am grateful for the achievements that I have, I do feel like that was the path of least resistance, right? Looking at my kids and looking at young people today, I am inspired by them. I admire their fearlessness, right? And I try to instill that in my own children, which is going to school and showing up to class, doing your homework, taking the test. All of that is the bare minimum requirement to be successful, which is kind of why I don't necessarily understand when students struggle in school, but that's not really for me to understand. But I do know if you just kind of go through the motions, if you show up every day and you do what they tell you to do, you'll pass, you'll be successful, right? Even if you just study a modest amount, you'll be successful. And I do feel like in school, the best classes, the classes that probably offer the greatest reward at the end, are the ones that are forcing you to be a little bit more self-guided, self-motivated, be it creative classes, classes that kind of force you to be an actual student. By actual student, I mean having a teacher who teaches you some of the technical requirements to actually learn successfully in that particular path, but kind of forces you to apply those learnings from your own perspective and forces you to practice a certain skill on your own time and express your own creativity, add your own flair to it, you know. So I do think classes like your electives, things of that nature, are probably a little bit more rewarding long term. They offer the greater benefit more so than, let's say, like your math class or history. Things that if you just read and you're able to remember the text, or in math, remember the formulas. If you can do those things, you'll pass by default. You know, you don't have to really step outside of the box too much. You're able to just kind of learn what you need to learn and then just regurgitate it, right? On your exams, on your homework, your daily assignments, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like a lot of that mode of thinking, that indoctrination to a system in school, translates into the corporate world, where if you show up, you do what your boss requires of you, you're there on time every day, you attend meetings, you do all the things that they request of you, you're able to maintain a steady income, you're not going to ruffle any feathers, right? You're going to be able to provide a life for yourself. It's not going to necessarily be super fulfilling, right? Because a lot of being a corporate employee doesn't require you to be ultra creative, to be super innovative, to step outside the box, to tap into the deepest depths of your mind, to identify creative solutions. I mean, even for somebody like myself who works in a creative industry, it's not necessarily encouraged that you be a creative thinker, right? In theory, that's what they want, but in practice, it's not actually what they want. You know, you have a lot of guardrails, a lot of red tape, a lot of things and people that you have to get through in terms of approvals in order to even see any of your ideas land in the hands of the consumer, the user, whoever you're designing for. And that's something I personally struggle with. But a lot of times you're kind of boxed in, and a lot of times you just kind of give in, you know, to avoid frustrations on your end and to avoid ruffling any feathers. You just kind of shut up and dribble, for lack of a better phrase, right? You just fall in line just because you want to make life as easy on yourself as possible, even though truly inside of yourself, your aspiration is to do something great, to have an impact, to make a greater contribution. And I think even in that desire to make a greater contribution, I think it's important to take a step back, which is something that I've done, to understand, is that contribution something that you feel is significant enough to be proud of in the long term as you move through your career, as you get older, right? Or the things you're working on in your day-to-day life, in your corporate job, things that you feel like are having a significant enough impact in the world to add value to the greatest amount of people, or to the people that you truly want to have impact on. And that's a question I ask myself probably more often than not these days. And I'm not going to answer that question here on this video, but I know the answer to that question. And if you're in a similar point in your life, you're probably asking yourself something similar. If you're not, you probably should be. And understand, if that answer is no, then you probably need to step back and reevaluate what you're doing with your life. Just because when you have a corporate job, you're giving the greatest part of your mind and your spirit to that. And we can't get this time back, right? You're spending 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day sometimes putting effort into something that may not yield the result that you're looking for, and it may not ever even see the light of day, right? It might be what you would consider, or what I might consider, wasted effort. And that time and energy probably could have been better spent doing something that you know in your spirit would have greater value or would offer more fulfillment to you personally. So yeah, that's kind of the perspective I wanted to have from this video, was just like, that's where I'm at today. And then even thinking a little bit further, thinking about how I want to transition into another realm of life. I want to begin to figure out what it is I truly want to do. But I don't know if you find yourself in a similar situation, but the further you go down this path of indoctrination, following the steps, relying on somebody to tell you what to do day to day, the harder it is for you to tap into yourself, who you truly are, and find that voice and remember what it is that really inspires you, what wakes you up in the morning, what makes you feel alive, what gets your creative juices flowing. It's harder to get back to that place of really understanding who you are, because you've gone so far down a path into becoming who they've wanted you to be. And by them, I mean the world, society. It's like I almost don't know what to do with my free time, because I'm so used to going through my mundane routine that I've crafted, that I'm, doing just to provide a life and to survive in this world, to get my paycheck, if you will. And it's embarrassing, man. It's like it's embarrassing, and it's a little disturbing to know that in my free time, the only things I can really get accomplished are things that tie back into having a very strict routine that's probably been crafted by somebody else. And that's like, doing my day-to-day job, or paying bills, or showing up to things that somebody else has scheduled, right? It's hard for me to create moments and opportunities and things in my day-to-day that just were derived from my own mind, that I find myself showing up to for me, right? Even recording videos. I've recorded countless videos, and there's no schedule associated with those. I don't have a specific time that I've stated I'm going to show up for myself and record these videos. And even when I do record them, there's not a designated time that I force myself to show up to edit these videos and upload them. And that's probably like the bare minimum that I could do, right? I can't creatively think about what I would craft if somebody didn't tell me to build it. I can't think about business ventures. I can't think about what the parameters around those business ventures should look like, or what the steps are that are associated with getting those ventures off the ground. It's like I've become this zombie that's void of having my own thoughts. Just a bot, pretty much programmed, going through the motions at the mercy of the world. But at the end of the day, what really keeps me going and what motivates me and helps me to cope with my current level of existence is just the fact that the self-awareness is there, right? And that's something that's probably small, but it's reassuring that at this point in my life, I have the presence of mind to at least know where I'm at, and to know where I'm stuck, and to know that there is something better for me. If I take the necessary steps to move forward and do it, I feel I'm at a place where I'm ready to take the steps to move forward and to transition into a life that I can live based off of my own thoughts and ideas, and live on my own accord. So I think that's a good first step, is just being able to look in the mirror and know that I'm not comfortable anymore with what my reality is, and to understand there's a better path. I don't all the way know how to get there. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, I think it's okay to not have the answers and to not know how to get there. And me even recording this video is me documenting something that's just where I'm at, right? And I think it's very easy to get hung up on the idea that I have to have all the answers in order to sit in front of this camera and offer any type of perspective. But The self-awareness and the growth and the maturity is knowing that it's okay for me to jump in front of this camera and not be there. That's okay. I think it's fine for me to document the struggle. I think it's fine for me to document the current state. You know, small steps I'm taking is just to be more mindful of my time. I've created a schedule for myself that I'm trying to stick to, working diligently daily to be up at a greater hour, to reduce the time I spend doing frivolous things like watching TV or playing video games. One thing I've already kind of had a little bit of a hold on is my fitness, going to the gym, 4 to 5 times a week, eating healthier. These are things that I've already implemented. Also making sure that I get my finances in order, because that is important, financial health and well-being, and, also being able to lean more into getting my spiritual life together. That's also a thing that I'm doing actively, right? Baby steps. I would say a majority of those things are things that I've recently implemented. It's things that I'm trying to integrate more so into my life, consuming content that actually edifies my mind and prepares me for that next step, that prepares me for growth, and kind of putting away things that are more so distractions, things that don't help me lean more into becoming growth-minded, things that are kind of ignorant, for lack of a better word, which there's a lot of content out there that's ignorant, that's pointless, that offers no substance other than maybe a few laughs and some entertainment value, right? Whatever your definition of entertainment is. Also, I find myself looking for inspiration every single day, more than likely watching YouTube videos. And on many levels, I would probably consider that kind of like a black hole, like a pointless journey, just because there's so much content out there that it offers you encouragement. And I don't dismiss any of the words. There's a lot that I've taken away from a lot of creators that have offered motivational content. But I think the piece that's missing for me specifically, and probably for a lot of you who watch a lot of motivational content, is the actionable piece. I mean, that's not to any fault of the creators. It's mostly to the fault of myself and probably to yourself, which is consuming so much of it that you're motivated or inspired, but not necessarily stepping back from feeling the dopamine that you get from the words that are being presented to you, to actually step back and take action on the words, to actually apply it to your own endeavors, to your day-to-day life. And I know that that's probably the point. That's probably the intent that creators in that niche are making their content from, is to provide you the motivation so that you can put your phone down or step away from your computer to actually go out into the world and use the knowledge, use the words to your advantage, to your growth. I think for me, the biggest piece is now being my own motivation. So taking the words that are provided to me, taking the ideologies and the perspectives that have been given to me, and now figuring out how do I make that work for me specifically, for Christian, so that I can live a life that is beyond worthy. So that's pretty much it, man. I pray everybody out there as well. I'd be curious to know what are things that you all struggle with in your day-to-day life. It's always nice to have a community of people who are going through something similar. So if you are going through something similar, if you find yourself being stuck and just not understanding how to approach getting to that next step in your life, or if you find yourself stuck as a corporate stooge and not really understanding how to regain control over your thoughts and your creative energy, then please document your own journey. Please share some of your struggles in the comments and some of the things that you do to kind of cope with that and to try to force yourself into that growth mindset. And then I would be curious to know what are some things that you're doing to or resources you use to think of new ways to become your greater self. I know one thing that I want to do So my roadmap is to read books. I enjoy reading, but right now I'm struggling between which book to start first to really give me that jolt of energy to really think outside of my current life. And the books that I'm really looking at right now are The Alchemist or The Hero with a Thousand Faces. So if you've read either one of those books and you watch this video before I make a selection, please let me know your thoughts and which one you thought was better or which one gave you the greatest level of enlightenment, right? The greatest perspective you needed to kind of make a shift in your current mindset. But that's all I got, man. Y'all stay well. Praying for y'all. Pray for me as well. And until the next one, be easy. All right, that's all I got, man. Peace out.